Welcome to our channel. We share stories every day, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification. Now, snuggle up and relax. Today we have story, The Three Brothers and the Devil. Once upon a time, in a small village at the edge of a dark forest, there lived three brothers. They were hard-working farmers, but their lives were simple and humble. They had a small house with a thatched roof, a few acres of land, and a few farm animals. They didn't have much, but they were content with what they had and grateful for the love of their family and friends. One day, as the brothers were tending their fields, a stranger appeared before them. He was tall and imposing, with a slick suit and a wide-brimmed hat. His eyes were dark and piercing, and his smile was twisted and cunning. "Good day, gentlemen," the stranger said with a bow. "My name is Lucius, and I have a proposition for you." The brothers were taken aback by the stranger's sudden appearance and his boldness, but they tried to remain polite. "What kind of proposition?" the eldest brother asked. Lucius leaned closer and whispered, "I can make you rich beyond your wildest dreams." The brothers exchanged confused glances. They were poor, but they didn't desire wealth or riches. They were happy with their simple lives and the love they shared with their families and friends. "I don't understand," the youngest brother said. "How can you make us rich?" Lucius smiled and produced a parchment from his coat pocket. "I have here a contract," he said. "If you sign it, I'll give you unlimited wealth and prosperity." The brothers were skeptical. They had heard of deals like this before, and they knew they often came with a price. "What's the catch?" the second brother asked. Lucius chuckled. "It's simple. In exchange for your wealth, I'll take one of your souls." The brothers were horrified. They knew that making a deal with the devil was dangerous and could lead to eternal damnation. The youngest brother spoke up. "We can't do that," he said firmly. "Our souls are not ours to give away." Lucius shrugged. "Suit yourself," he said. "But think about what you could do with that kind of money. You could build grand mansions, wear the finest clothes, and eat the most delicious foods. You could help the poor and the sick, and be admired by everyone in the village." The eldest brother's eyes gleamed at the thought of such wealth. "I'll do it," he said with a grin. "I've always dreamed of living in a mansion and owning all the riches in the world." The second brother hesitated. He knew that making a deal with the devil was wrong, but the temptation of wealth was hard to resist. "I'm not sure this is a good idea," he said nervously. "But imagine all the things we could do with that kind of money. We could help so many people." The youngest brother shook his head. "Brothers, please don't do this," he said. "We may be poor, but we have each other and the love of our family and friends. That's worth more than any amount of money." But the eldest and the second brother were determined to make the deal. They signed the contract and handed it to Lucius, who smiled wickedly and disappeared into thin air. The next day, the eldest brother woke up in a grand mansion, surrounded by servants and jewels. He wore the finest clothes and ate the most delicious foods, but his heart was empty and cold. He didn't care about his family or friends anymore, and he treated his neighbors with contempt and cruelty. The second brother also woke up in a luxurious house, with all the riches he had ever dreamed of. He donated some money to charity and helped some of the poor in the village, but he was never truly happy. He felt guilty for what he had done and knew that he had made a mistake. Meanwhile, the youngest brother continued to live his simple life on the farm, tending to his crops and animals. He missed his brothers, but he knew that they had chosen a dangerous path. One day, a terrible drought hit the village, and the crops began to wither and die. The people were desperate, and many of them were on the brink of starvation. The eldest brother was unmoved by their plight. He had enough food and water to last for years, but he refused to share it with anyone. He enjoyed the suffering of others and reveled in his power over them. The second brother was conflicted. He wanted to help, but he knew that he had already made a deal with the devil, and he feared the consequences of breaking it. The youngest brother, however, knew what he had to do. He packed some food and water and set out to help his neighbors. He shared what he had with them and worked tirelessly to find new sources of water. The people were grateful and amazed by the youngest brother's kindness and selflessness. They praised him and thanked him for his generosity, and soon, word of his deeds spread throughout the village. One day, Lucius returned to the village, and he was angry. "You were supposed to give me one soul," he hissed at the eldest and second brother. "But you have given me nothing." The eldest brother laughed. "What do we care?" he said. "We have all the wealth in the world." Lucius frowned. "You have broken our contract," he said. "And there will be consequences." The eldest and second brother trembled with fear. They knew that they had made a terrible mistake. But the youngest brother was not afraid. He stood up to Lucius and said, "We may have made a deal with you, but we also made a promise to ourselves and to our community. We promised to help others and to be kind and just." Lucius sneered. "And what good has that done you?" he said. "You're still poor, and you have nothing to show for it." The youngest brother smiled. "I have the love of my family and friends, and the respect of my community," he said. "That's worth more than any amount of wealth." Suddenly, there was a loud rumble, and the ground shook beneath their feet. A bright light appeared, and a figure emerged from it. It was an angel, with wings as white as snow and a radiant aura. "Lucius, you have been defeated," the angel said in a booming voice. "Your powers have no hold over these brothers, for they have chosen kindness and love over greed and selfishness." Lucius screamed in anger and disappeared in a puff of smoke. The angel turned to the brothers and said, "You have passed the test, my children. You have shown that even in the face of temptation and darkness, you can choose the path of light and goodness. You will be blessed with abundance and joy, and your deeds will be remembered for generations to come." The eldest and second brother were ashamed of their actions, but they were also grateful for the chance to redeem themselves. They apologized to their younger brother and promised to make amends for their mistakes. And so, the three brothers continued to live in their village, but their lives were forever changed. They learned that true wealth comes from the love of others and the kindness of heart, and that making a deal with the devil is never worth it. One day, the oldest brother was walking through the forest when he came across a group of travelers. They were lost and hungry, with no food or water to sustain them on their journey. The brother remembered the lesson he had learned from the old woman and decided to share his food and water with the travelers. To his surprise, the travelers turned out to be wealthy merchants who were impressed with the brother's generosity. They offered him a job as their assistant, which he gladly accepted. In time, he became a trusted member of their team and amassed his own wealth, but he never forgot the lesson he had learned about kindness and giving. The second brother also had a change of heart. He decided to use his newfound wealth to help others in need, like the poor and sick in his village. He built a hospital and donated food and medicine to those who couldn't afford it. His generosity earned him the respect and admiration of his fellow villagers, and he lived a happy and fulfilling life. As for the youngest brother, he lived a long and prosperous life, but he was haunted by the memory of the devil and the deal he had made. He knew that he had been lucky to escape with his life and his wealth, but he also knew that he had paid a terrible price. In the end, he realized that true wealth was not measured in gold or silver, but in the love and kindness he had shown to others. And so, the three brothers lived out their days in peace and contentment, each one grateful for the lessons they had learned and the love they had received. They knew that they had been blessed with the greatest treasure of all, the gift of a kind and loving heart. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. We have tailor-made a video on left. If you missed my latest video, click on the right one, and the top left you can find playlist with more stories.